8 years ago, I was living on an island off of Hong Kong, and I got a phone call in the middle of the night. It was my mom calling from Riverside Hospital in Toronto. "Come home," she said. "Your dad's dying." I raced to the airport, and when I got to the hospital, my dad was still alive. And his eyes were open, but he didn't have a lot of life left in him. So my family gathered in and said our goodbyes, and we thought that this was it. But my dad, whose motto in life was never give up, just wasn't ready to give up. It was the first time in a long time we'd all been together as a family, and he just wanted to be together with all of us. So we hung on. Have you ever watched a person starve to death? Now imagine that person's your dad. My dad was my person growing up. He taught me how to ride a bike, how to swim, how to ski down a mountain. He picked me up at the side of the road when I ran away with my little blue suitcase as a little girl. And when I was having a bad day, he'd take me to Baskin-Robbins for our favorite Rocky Road ice cream. We watched him as he went from the man that we knew to someone that was on his way out. And slowly he deteriorated in front of our eyes. On what would be the last night of his life, I slept in his hospital room. And in the middle of the night when the nurses came to check on him, I woke up and the curtains were drawn open and there was a full moon in the sky. And my dad just lay there looking at it. And I sat up and I held his hands and I told him all the things that I'd wanted to say. I told him that I was sorry. I was sorry for running away to the other side of the world, and I was sorry that I wasn't there for him. And even though he couldn't talk, he squeezed my hand and he looked at me, and I knew that I was forgiven. And the next day, with my brother and my mom and I holding his hands, my dad took his last breath. That week together and my dad's death, it changed my life. 2 weeks later, I was on another plane, taking another job. I lived in 10 countries in 10 years. I saw the sunrise from the summit of Mount Kinabalu. I went to the Arctic, and I saw herds of wild muskox, and I skinny dipped in the Arctic Ocean. And all of those things were amazing, but none of them were the moment that changed my life. And then 4 years ago, I was walking, and a firefly flew right up in front of me. And I hadn't seen a firefly since my dad died. And I was totally stunned, and I stuck up my finger, and the firefly landed right on the tip of my finger. And I was so shocked, I completely forgot where I was, and I said, "Dad?" And of course it wasn't him, and as soon as I said that, it was gone. And it didn't matter, because I thought to myself, what if it's not about all those moments? What if the moment that changes everything is just the moment that I decide to change? Because it wasn't the beer in my hand, and it wasn't the sand between my toes, and it wasn't the kaleidoscope of colors across the sunset sky. It was me. I was the catalyst. I decided to change my life. Because the moment that changed my life is the moment I just decided. And the ironic thing is, I came home to Canada and I started this amazing event in this great community of female entrepreneurs, and we take them on unforgettable adventures and unforgettable locations, and we share all of these unforgettable moments. But we know that none of those moments are the moment that will change their life, because the moment that changes your life is the moment you decide to change.